turning back.
Cheers. Welcome back to the Last Boy Scouts podcast. We're just gonna get right into it.
Let's do it. Yeah. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's we just got done with training. Killer night.
Yeah.
Chris Parker, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
You hear this? Chris Parker got his purple belt. We've talked about Chris a couple times on here. He's a good dude, man. So Chris Parker and I, we were COVID. I think I've talked about this. We were COVID. He was in my COVID group.
Yeah.
We had never met each other. I'd heard about him training right before COVID. He was going to the night classes and I was going to the day classes, and Mike was like, man, you got to meet this guy. You got to meet this guy. He's a rock climber. I know you climb rocks.
Yeah.
And he's a killer guitar player. He's in this band. And then COVID happened. And, like when we were training, it was crazy because at first, we didn't know what to do, right? I mean, everybody during COVID, nobody knew what to do.
Right.
And so Mike was like, hey, we're going to stay open until, because I don't see why we wouldn't stop training. Jiu-jitsu is good for everybody. It's good for your body. And then kind of things started going weird. And he's like, hey, man, like, I think we're going to have to close for a little while.
Yeah.
And then when he opened, he was like, I'm not sure what to do, but I think what we're going to do is build groups. And we're going to, we're going to assign groups, and that's all you can train with,
Yeah.
And just by chance, Mike was like, hey, I'm going to put you with this Chris Parker guy. So we had never met, and man, him and I hit it off like right away. He's been such a, when I got my purple belt, he got his blue belt. And so, there'd be times when during COVID, we would train in my basement, downstairs, just me, him, and Trip sometimes, just going over the white to blue belt stuff,
That's awesome.
And it was really cool to see him.
Just another one of your mentees.
I know, it's really cool to see him.
He's a Danny purple belt.
He's a Mike Diaz purple belt, but I definitely we've had some really cool conversations, and he's a good dude.
Yeah.
And I was glad to be there to see him.
It was way cool.
It was really cool, man. Like
surprised.
They have that band.
I'm not
band.
surprised. Yeah, but like, but
It's
like,
a monster.
you never know when something like that's going to happen, right? Like those like we have the belt promotions that for white to blue, typically that there's a bunch of stuff that goes on, but surprise as far as like every once in a while somebody gets a brown belt, somebody gets a purple belt.
Yeah.
And it's just based on the attendance and the effort they put in, their time training, their time on the mat. And then
it was really cool because Gustavo was there.
Yeah.
Gustavo, I started with him. Gustavo Rodriguez. He's out of Tuela. He also has his jiu-jitsu is also out of One Hit MMA. That's where I fought out of with Aldo. And he was there, and he said some cool stuff. He's like, in that, blue belt, a lot of people quit with blue belt because they think they know enough, or they just don't have time, or things get in the way. And once you get the purple belt, he's like, you can't quit now. You can't quit. You're in it.
You absolutely are. Gustavo reffed my first match.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The first match I ever competed in.
Right.
So
fourth
cool.
degree.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, cool. Just a cool group. Cool band. They all practice jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. The whole band.
Whole band.
And they're good. They I guess they had that show up in Park City, knocked it out of the park from what I understand. Like It was a really, really cool thing. It was snowing like crazy. But there was a lot of color on the mat tonight, a lot of hammers.
Yeah.
A lot of killers.
Yeah.
It was a tough night. 20 rounds of just monsters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. 4 black belts.
Yeah, 4 black belts.
4 black belts, 4 purple belts.
Yeah, 2
brown belts.
Gosh. Just a bunch of killers.
Yeah.
It's interesting with when you start to go down the path, and you have all these like eclectic walks of life, right? And each of them brings something to the mat, and that's what somebody was talking about tonight with like energies and how energy is transferred, and how you could have so much negative energy going on. Like I had a really rough day. I had a really bad day, and I can still kind of feel it on my body. Like I can still feel that I'm like kind of anxious about going to work tomorrow, and a little anxious about not getting enough sleep. And jiu-jitsu like took away for, like, I literally went almost 2.5 hours and didn't think about a single thing. and energy transfers in that space, right? And I don't know if anybody, if you don't understand it until you're in it, right? You don't know until you're in it.
Yeah.
And you don't know that you need it until you don't have it.
It's true. It's true. And I'm always surprised by the guys on the mat that don't realize the energy that they bring to the mat, that are constantly like, man, you're coming at me hard. And I'm like, well, actually, no, I'm really mirroring.
Sure.
I'm protecting myself, right? Like I can feel your energy and now I have to step it up because I am protecting myself.
Yeah.
I will slow down. I know I need to make 20 rounds. I know I got to take little sips and conserve my grips.
Yeah.
And I want to, I want to be a competitor. I want to be a tough match for you. I don't want to have to like get stuck in this like
battle.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And energy transfers with your relationships in the same way.
Yeah.
Like you can have negative and positive energies with each of your relationships throughout the day.
Man, I've been talking to Bryn about that. My oldest, she had a little spat at school, and I was like, what can you control?
Yeah, what can you control?
What can you control? What are you really in control of? And I said, you're in control of your response. And you've become a wise adult when you can not be reactive. Like if somebody's coming at you and they're, you did this, blah, 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 blah. It's very easy to just go, wait, I got to defend myself and just mirror that back. But you've crossed over into wise adult. You've conquered, or you've become in control of your nervous system to not fall into that fight or flight and just say, okay, yep. Yeah. I'm so guilty of that. Like, it's hard. It takes years of practice. And so I'm kind of excited to key up tonight because I was hoping you would guide us through a little breathwork session.
Yeah.
Show us what it's doing.
And I was thinking about that, and I'll talk you a couple things that I do during fight or flight.
Yeah.
Some simple things that we can do. And really like monitoring your nervous system starts with, everybody talks about inhale, exhale. But if you think about an inhale as, you're breathing in energy.
Yeah.
You're breathing in energy.
Yes.
Right. You're breathing in clean air. And so if you just do nasal breathing, you have all these, sensors in your sinus cavity and your nasal cavity, and you have no idea how many sensors each nostril is responsible for,
right? And
what both of them do at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And so simple ways that you can do that is to breathe through your mouth. And most of the time when you breathe through your mouth, you're just breathing carbon monoxide, and you're not really you're not getting in the full oxygen because the air has carbon monoxide in
particulates,
and it's okay. Like that's the way it's supposed to be. But if you take some salt or you take some smelling scents, you plug your nose and you breathe in through your mouth, right? You won't be able to smell it.
Yeah.
You'll probably get, because we have some sensories in our mouth.
For you to practice with that.
With that. Right? When you were a kid, your mom or your dad would say, you're going to eat that. And you're like, no, it tastes disgusting. They're like, well, plug your nose.
Yeah.
And you plug your nose and eat it, and you would, and it makes sense because you can't smell it. Most of the time, humans especially, we smell before we eat, right? So same thing. Like if you're wondering what it's like, just take some scents, put it in your mouth and breathe through your mouth. Or sorry, put it in your hands and breathe through your mouth. You won't be able to smell it if you plug your nose.
Yeah.
Then unplug your nose, close your mouth, breathe just through your nose slowly. And I promise you'll understand what I'm talking about with your nasal cavity, because there's so many sensors up there.
Yeah.
So in the morning, what you should do is take a couple breaths in and out through your nose. Right. And so what I do is I set a timer on my watch, and I have, it's energy. And I think about that when I wake up. I have a routine. I wake up, I close my eyes, I wash my face, I put my scents in my hands, I rub them together, and I rub them on my body, and then I put them in my hands. And for those of you guys that are not watching on YouTube, it's just putting your hands over your mouth, like you're
cupping your face.
Right? and I breathe just through my nose, in and out, in and out. And there is no rhythm. There's no rhyme. You know, it's just a simple set yourself a 20-second timer in and out through your nostrils, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And you'll feel the energy start to get your body awake, right? You'll feel that. Then what you can do is plug your nose, breathe all the way out, plug your nose, and act like you're swallowing, right? But you have to know, you have to plug your nose. And that is, it's called blowing out your sinuses. You do it
when you're diving. Yeah.
Right.
When you're coming up from air,
same concept.
Yeah. Okay.
Same concept. You're blowing. What you're doing is you're cleaning out your sinuses, and you'll feel this. You'll hear in your inner ear, kind of like a suction noise, right, in your inner ear. And but the key is with breathing is to do it first thing in the morning. No food, no liquid, empty stomach, because you need to be able to have a very hollow cell, right? And
so you're trying to maximize the space your lungs have, really, if I'm understanding you correctly.
So where's all your, so if you think about where your organs are at, your organs, so you have really just your heart, and then you have lungs, right? But they go all the way through your body, right?
Yeah.
But then most of your organs are in your belly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you breathe through your nose and you get it all the way down into your belly, now you're getting oxygen to your stomach and to those organs. You need to get them to your organs, but you need to do it with, like I said, first thing in the morning, no liquid, no food. And really it should take about 10 to 15 minutes at the most. As you get further on, you should be able to get 30 minutes to an hour. That's a long time to breathe. It takes a lot of practice to get to. It takes years to get to where you can sit calmly and keep your breath under control for 30, 45, 60 minutes,
because it's partially, it's also what's going through your head. I'm assuming. So
you start to wander.
Well, it's like doubling down on meditation. I think I listened to Huberman where he talks about breathwork actually being
it's more beneficial
than, excuse me, your standard meditation, right? Like, from what I understand too, like, we have this system of nerves, and like breathing actually helps give those nerves more space and helps I know when I have an anxiety attack, my not that happens much, but like my therapist was like, just do 2 quick inhales and then and that activates what he calls this nervous break. Like it slows, gives that nerve more room to do just be.
Sure. When I'm teaching people about breathing and when I'm talking to people about breathing, like I could show you how I do it. You would look at me and you would try to mimic me, and it would make zero sense to you because you haven't practiced it, right?
Sure.
It's like everything else in life. You have to practice it. So the simplistic things to do is to breathe in and out, but not through your mouth. Not through your mouth. It's really hard because, like, we've talked about taping our mouth. Both you and I have taped our mouth before. I've taped my mouth at night. I'm not a mouth breather, so like I notice when I'm sleeping that my mouth is closed. I do snore sometimes, and those nights I'm probably not getting a full rest of sleep. But when I taped my mouth, I slept fine. I didn't have any anxiety, right? But let's say you're driving, and the things you want to avoid while you're driving, but you're just sitting there, you don't want to do any kind of while you're driving, because that's hyperventilating, right? And you potentially could pass out. Yeah. But you could go and always
little ASMR for
a little ASMR. Yeah. What you should do is like, it should be 10 seconds of in. So if you have to hold your breath, that's fine. And then 30 seconds of out. And all through your mouth. So you go in, hold, and then you're like, when you go out, you count in your head 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but you're breathing out through your nose, right? And those things will calm. It's just like your parents telling you, like I said, it's just like your parents telling you, count to 10.
Yeah.
When you're upset. And again, this is a simplistic way of doing things. So like we talked about real quick, couple of breaths in and out through your nose, not with your mouth open. So I know there's so many ways that people talk about, like Huberman says, it doesn't matter if you go in and out through your mouth or in and out through your nose. Just get just get the breath going, right?
Right.
Me personally, I believe not nasal breathing is the most beneficial thing that you can do. And then blowing out your sinuses. But when you blow your sinuses out, you breathe all the way out. No breath in your belly, no breath in your sinus. Plug your nose and start swallowing like you're trying to swallow. Like, and that also can stimulate your holding your breath, which is why divers do it.
Okay.
Because it simulates taking a breath so they can hold their breath longer.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So those two things you can do on a daily basis as many times as you want to do during the day. And then, like I said, the main thing when we're talking about basic is in, hold, and now I have a timer. We have all these technology things that are so cool. So I have a built-in program on my Garmin. So I just watch. I in, and when it's 10 seconds, and then I out for 30 seconds, but I'm counting in my head 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, fully out through the nostrils, because that is how you can hold your breath longer. It teaches you how to hold your breath longer, which, again, if you want to try this out, you go into a pool. You cannot go in a pool.
Yeah. Not without drowning.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to do it above the surface. Then you go down, and then you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then when you're fully out of breath, you hold your breath.
Yeah.
And when you get to fight or flight, because panic sets in, right? And again, how you want to try it, like go to jujitsu, keep your mouth closed. And when you're getting smother tapped, just count in your head 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're going to be able to hold your breath. You're going to be able to, you're going to be fine. Now, maybe there's a choke on and you're going to pass out. But if it's just smothering and you're panicking, man, you can calm yourself down quickly. So when I talk to men who are going through some very scary things that they're going through, learning how to navigate their breath is the first thing that you should help a young man with, help your children with, help your significant other with. And me personally, I do 20 to 30 minutes of breath work every morning. No questions asked. I don't, it's my time. I make Misty's coffee. I may make Misty's coffee prior to doing it, but I also may tell Misty, like, I'm having a rough day, I'm going to go breathe first. I don't stretch because that could take me another 30 minutes, right? Then I'll go make her coffee. Then I'll go back and stretch. But breath work, first thing. And my practice starts with just getting my breath under control. It's in and out through my nasal cavity, and then blow my sinuses out, then in and out, then in and out. And I may do some, which is just fire breathing. Right. And I believe that those simple things can calm a man's nervous system so fast. Because when you're breathing like that, all of your senses are focused on your breath and no longer on anger, frustration. When I notice that my central nervous is off, it's when I'm holding my breath. I can't hold my breath for as long as, like, there were times when I was getting up to a minute of breath work, doing fire breathing, breathe all the way out, no air inside of my stomach, no air inside of my belly, no air anywhere, fully exhaled, and I could hold my breath for a minute. And some of it is like I said, swallowing, because that stimulates your brain, stimulates a breath, and so you can go longer. I'm currently practicing with a different technique, so I'm only able to hold my breath for 30 seconds. But when your central nervous system is off, you're not holding your breath at all.
Yeah, no,
because your heart starts to race, and that triggers your mind. I need to breathe.
Yeah,
and so you'll go.
Yeah, so those are the feelings you start to get that indicate that you're in that fight or flight.
You're in that fight or flight. And so then what you need to do, just go back to the very beginning.
Yeah.
Don't worry about fire breathing. Don't worry about breath work.
Yeah.
Go to training.
Yeah.
Hold your breath. Go do, put yourself in those scary situations. Don't hyperventilate breathing.
Yeah.
Don't practice hyper because you're already in the fight or flight. You don't need to stimulate that. Your body's already stimulated like that.
Yeah.
When you're calm, and things are going good in your life, then you need to hyperventilate. You need to get to the hyperventilate stage because you're probably not in that hyperventilation stage, right?
Yeah.
And then that's when new techniques come into the play. That's when fire breathing, those kind of sounds. And it's funny, when I was showing Braxton, what happens is your breath gets trapped. And me, as a breath work person, I can see your breath is trapped in there. And you think you're doing it because of the sounds, but I can tell with your body that your breath is trapped inside of there, right?
Yeah.
And so I'll be like, okay, breathe all the way out. And all of a sudden you're like, and there's all this breath and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It's because what's happening is as you're breathing, you're holding your breath, and more air is getting in, 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 more air is getting in. So there's this big breath in there. So what's happening? Carbon monoxide is building inside of your body. And then as soon as you breathe all the way out, you'll go, because carbon monoxide is not actually what you need. Now, in the air, we definitely need more carbon monoxide than oxygen, which is actually interesting.
Yeah.
You need carbon monoxide. That's kind of how the world works, right?
Yeah.
And so as we were talking with Jesse today, he was talking about how we need to breathe. And it's because he's excited about learning how to breathe.
Yeah.
But it's so boring. The basic part is so boring.
Yeah.
But if you don't learn the basic part of just nasal breathing and what's the benefits of nasal breathing, then the other stuff doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And fight or flight takes over no matter what. In any man's life, like you have fight or flight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the time, men are able to really trigger their fight. They're able to okay, I'm ready to fight. I want to learn this because I'm going to fight it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As opposed to okay, I'm going to learn it, but I'm going to understand it first. Right. And, try doing the three of those things. Like I said, the simple of breathing in and out through your nasal passage. Set a timer for a minute, and don't think about timing yourself the same amount in and out. Just in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. In a rhythm. Get yourself in a rhythm. What I do is I put my noise canceling headphones on, no music, and I listen to my breath. I every once in a while I'll hold my chest, that's a good thing to do. Hold your chest, just to calm yourself, and then practice blowing out your nostrils. Yeah, which, like I said, it's a funny thing. If you don't breathe out all of the air, then air's trapped in there. But if you breathe it all the way out, you'll know what I mean. You breathe all the way out, and if you've dived, like Tyler said, the sensation is when you get to certain meters or certain feet down, you blow your nostrils to equalize. That's kind of what you're doing. Yeah. And what that should be is about 10 to 15 seconds of being able to hold your breath in everything all the way out and pinched your nose and doing that swallowing motion, right? And then the last thing would be set a timer, hold in, and then at the 10 seconds, breathe all the way out as long as you can for 20 to 30 seconds, counting in your head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What that should do is completely calm you down. Calm you down. I would say you could do that in the morning. Yeah. And potentially at night. Okay. Potentially at night before you go to bed. More more of the box breathing is more important, is kind of more beneficial at night.
Just kind of slowing it down.
And box breathing is good because what it does is it recalibrates your brain to start. It's so funny because people like always said count the sheep. Right. You think about each sheep jumping over. Yeah. That's kind of how box breathing is.
Yeah.
It just recalibrates and refocuses your mind.
Yeah.
So never fire breathing before bed. Fire breathing is all done for certain things. It's done, like, let's say you haven't slept well and you need to drive, like I do it before I drive an hour to work. Mm-hmm. I fire breathe so that I'm like kind of like zoned in.
Yeah.
Before a competition, fire breathe. Before a meeting, fire breathe. Before a very, let's say you're going to go meet with a person of the opposite sex and it's not a date. This is for either, like, you're probably not, what I would say is, like, if you're going through a very, a moment with your significant other, maybe a divorce or something that you want to be focused on.
Yeah.
It's not tantric stuff where you're going to do it before sex and hold, do all that kind of like edging and all that kind of weird shit that people do, I'm not saying it's weird that they do it, but bring yourself almost to climax and then, bring it back down. It's not edging. It's, I want to be focused and I don't want to have my emotions play a part of anything. I'm going to be unemotional.
Because deprogramming the default state. And I think that's what we talk about, right? When we say man in, that's what we mean, is that we are focused on what is our default state for our nervous system,
for sure,
and how do we control it? What are our triggers, right? So you've given us some good examples. Like, would you say that there is like a particular scenario where, like, hey, things are getting heated, I can see I've fallen back down into that lower brain stem. How do I pull myself out of it? Is there a breathing routine that you particularly would recommend when I need to bring myself back down to base because things are getting out of control?
That would be you could use these simple routines, and you could do this for both. You could do this for an initial waking up, and you can also do it for refocusing and recentering your body, recentering everything. When you recenter, it's a matter of like getting your breath back, because if you're in fight or flight, this is what it sounds like. Right?
Yeah.
But the same thing, it sounds the same to you, right? When you have a hard train, when you've had a hard workout, recentering gets you back to breathing like this.
Yeah. Just slowing it down.
And going as long on the out
exhale as you can.
The out is the most important thing. The out of your breath is the very most important thing. It's the most important thing during an argument. It's the most important thing during a tense situation. It's the most important thing.
Focusing on the exhale.
Always. Yeah. Recentering. Like I said, when you start to get to a moment in your life, especially, like I said, as a man, I had, today, I'm not proud of myself, but I did have a rough morning, and everybody knew that I was off, like, at work. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Braxton's had a couple things that like really made me mad that he was going through, and I couldn't control it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to rage on a couple people because of what they were doing to him. And he kept telling me, no, Dad, it's okay. No, Dad, it's okay. I got it. Everything's going to work out okay, Dad. Everything's going to work out okay. And I wanted to rage. And it kind of like made me a little off balance and off kiltered with things. And so I didn't sleep well last night, went to work, and just a couple things caught me off guard. And, I snapped at a couple people. And then when I went back to, I took a break and I went outside and I took my shoes off, stepped in the grass and started walking around. And I was like, all right, man. Like,
yeah.
All right.
Grounded yourself.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Take a couple breaths. You know, I had even breathed in the morning and I felt fine. And then just regrounding myself, refocusing, I went back in and a couple people were like, dude, you good, man? Cause I mean, I was hot.
Yeah.
Talked to ended up like finding out that Braxton was going to be okay. Everything turned out the way that he expected it to turn out.
Yeah.
And that cleared some of that. And then it's all about a matter of like, okay, when you're in a stressful situation or you're not yourself, like I'm angry, Danny.
Yeah.
I need to breathe slower.
Yeah.
Not faster, because when I'm breathing faster, man, I'm like, ready to go.
You're raising your heart.
I'm ready to go, you know, and it's not fight or flight. It is 100% kill.
Yeah.
You know, and when that happens, you are focused, but I'm focused on negative energy.
Yeah.
So I have to regroup, reset myself. This happens a lot to me and probably to you during training. When you get to fight or flight in training, and when that takes over and you're like, and you come to the top and you're like, I'm going to rip your arm off.
Yeah.
The game is on.
Yeah.
You never feel good about it.
No.
You never walk away going, I showed you.
Yeah.
You always have this like letdown at the end that you're like, shit. Why did I do that?
Yeah.
But if you recenter, you refocus, you come to the top, take a deep breath and like refocus at the energy, you always walk away like,
yeah,
I controlled it.
Yeah.
I controlled that aggression.
Yeah.
I controlled the monster inside, because men have a monster inside.
Yeah. There's definitely, you know, there's a darkness.
There is.
There's a darkness that we need to become in control of.
And violence is real. and every man, you know, like, maybe not every man, I don't know, the men that I'm around are capable of violence.
Yeah.
We're also capable of being super big fuckheads to people. You know,
yeah.
I'm sure when you have a fight with Cammie, you don't walk away feeling or empowered. You walk away going, shit.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Shit.
I've never felt good about walking away from a fight where I've been in that kind of egoic protecting myself state. Right. And I think that's what's interesting, right? Like as men, we've evolved into a society where we don't have as many we have more perceived threats than we have actual threats. And I think that's where my practice of jujitsu has really kind of introduced me to this world. You know, my journey with breathwork started, you know, during the divorce, where I was like, I need to find additional modalities. You know, I was in therapy, I was in jujitsu, I'd done yoga, and somebody turned me on to a type of breathwork called neurodynamic breathwork. And this is some dude out of California developed this system where you listen to headphones, and he has a breathwork routine that is kind of getting you on that verge of hyperventilation. And in conjunction with the music, it's really weird how your body, like, it tenses up and then it just relaxes and releases. And, you know, I just felt all this different type of connection. The first time I did his routine, he literally has you, you know, you join a Zoom meeting, you put on noise canceling headphones, you put on a blindfold. When he starts the session, he takes you through like how to do the breath. Like, this is the type of breath you're going to do. And then you listen to the soundtrack, and you're supposed to, kind of asynchronously take your breath with the music. And it was very interesting, like how my body like started, like my hands got cramped. And if you're looking at the YouTube, they just kind of cramped up like this. Like I was like,
your muscles look amazing, dude.
Yeah. And then they like, at the end, the music slows down and then they just released and like everything relaxed. And it was interesting because I've never been taught how to breathe.
Sure.
Like breathing is just something we do.
You know, what's funny is like, back in the day, so our jaws are the way that they are because we developed into being mouth breathers. Our esophagus tube used to be a little bit higher, but because we ended up becoming mouth breathers, it dropped down. That's why our esophagus is down lower. But back in the day, the Native Americans, like let's say their babies started breathing and they would be breathing through their mouth. They would put their hands over the baby's mouth so that the baby would breathe through the nose.
Interesting.
But our teeth are crooked because we're become mouth breathers. So
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things where I get worried with fads, taping the mouth and all that stuff. And putting the little sponge in your mouth that like you can bite on that will make your jaw stronger, make it look a little bit stronger. Holding your neck like this, if you're on YouTube, like squeezing your neck so that this part of your jowls don't hang low, which is with sleep apnea, especially like if your jowls hang low, like that's a big indicator that sleep apnea is probably going to get, because what happens is all that fat like sucks down and it's like when you're forgetting to breathe.
Yeah.
And which is why you have to have one of those machines. I can't remember what they're called.
CPAP.
A CPAP machine. Could you imagine? Dude, sleeping with that thing? What the heck, man? Like,
yeah.
I'm not trying to sleep with that thing.
Dude, I feel like you've given up on life I'm sorry if you have to use one of those things. I know there's like a medical thing, but like there's so much you can do.
There's so much you can do.
My dentist taught me, he was probably my first person to kind of bring breathing. And he said all the same things you did, like, right. Our teeth are crooked because we don't breathe right. Like, I've had a significant amount of dental work done, extending the top palate. And like, he was the one who actually kind of recommended, taping my mouth shut. He didn't say it was like something you have to do forever, but he's like, you've got to build those muscles. And once you've built those muscles, then you probably can stop doing it. But like, we're not taught how to breathe. We just assume that we know how it's done.
Well, and especially like when you're training a sport and you're training like, we just use combat arts, combat martial arts, because that's what we do. But it also goes into like when we were running last year, we were all like talking about like keeping our mouth closed while we were running and seeing who could do the longest,
Yeah.
And, breath work, you're right. We haven't been taught how to breathe. More importantly, when you're in the fight or flight and you're in these, these aggressive moments and you're scared and you're nervous, your central nervous is firing in the wrong way, as opposed to being excited and like really being like, this is amazing. I'm having so much fun. You don't need to worry about breathing because you're like in a different zone.
Yeah.
But when you're scared, nervous, or life is on the line, most likely you are holding your breath.
Yeah.
Most likely you are not breathing and you're not thinking straight and you're not focused. So any kind of breath work should bring you back to some sort of focus to be able to be like, okay, I'm focused. I'm going to go drive an hour and I'm a little tired. I'm going to get focused.
Yeah.
I don't want to be sleeping. I don't want to fall asleep on the way to work, from work.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I want to make sure I'm focused. I'm about to go train and there's a bunch of monsters on the mat. I'm a little scared. I'm going to get my breath under control and I'm going to focus. Okay, what am I going to work on today?
Yeah.
Focus. Okay, I'm scared. Refocus.
I can tell if I'm hyperventilating in the first, like when we get to hit open mat, if I'm hyperventilating in the first 3 to 5 rounds, I know it's going to be a miserable train. It's going to be a miserable train. I have to slow it down and I have to play my game, and I don't want to match your energy. I want to play my game and do 20 rounds and not like feel like I'm out of breath.
Sure.
Right? Like I watch some of the black belts. Like I've never seen Nick out of breath.
Never. And did you see him today? Like Mike and Gustavo were training.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Yeah.
Very quiet. And neither of them got up going.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were like, they could have a conversation. They were chill because their central nervous system is firing at such a slow rate.
Yeah.
They're never scared. They're never, if an attack is on, they address the attack, but it's like, okay, back to, and then when they talk, it's so funny because they're like, man, jiu-jitsu is this, and these scary dudes could kill are the most quiet, calm, unassuming men, and their level of violence is probably really high.
Man, and something interesting is the same about res dogs on the reservation when I was on my mission. The dogs that would bark Those weren't the ones you need to worry about. It was the quiet ones that would sneak up behind you and bite you in the ass.
Same thing with an argument.
Yeah.
Anytime you're arguing with somebody, you are in your mind in a fight.
Yeah.
You're like, man, if this escalates,
yeah,
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
But if you were to like just calm down and be like, what is my interest in this fight?
Yeah.
What is my interest? What is my investment in this fight?
Yeah.
What am I going to gain from this? Am I going to gain anything from this fight? And if you're not going to gain anything from this fight, maybe what you should do is close your mouth, start breathing through your nose, and think, should I even address this anymore? Let this person have all the let them say whatever they want to say. Let them get out of their system, get it all out of your system while you sit there with your mouth closed, breathing, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and going, I can't win. I can't win this situation. I can't win. I'm not going to win. And the only solace that I'm going to get is that I'm practicing my breath work in a very scary, very intense situation. And at the end of the day, I'm going to walk away and go, maybe I didn't get anything from it, but I also didn't give anything either.
Yeah.
And I think about that with arguments. I'm guilty of like going, you know what, today is a violence day.
Yeah.
Today is a day of like, I'm not taking shit from nobody and I'm not taking shit from you. And guess what? We're fighting.
Yeah.
I never, ever, ever walk away from that going, I showed you.
I won. Yeah.
I won.
Right.
I always walk away like, well, those, how many days have you gone without an accident? And it's like,
yes.
How many days have you gone with at an argument or felt like shit? And I wipe that away and I put zero.
Yeah. Oh, so relatable.
Right.
So relatable. Yeah. I want, in a way, I kind of want those people that I'm choosing violence for. I want them to fear my silence, right? Like I want them to fear it.
Yeah. Don't
like, oh shit, he's gone quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's not doing anything. Like he's not reacting. Like that's when I do feel like I win. And if I can get into that space, it's great. You're right. When I rage, whether it be at my kids or coworkers or whatever, I've never walked away feeling like what I end up doing is ruminating on it for the next week and a half. Same. You know what I mean? And that's even worse. It's even giving that negative energy, more energy is the worst.
Yeah. I have developed a practice of going, thank you.
Yeah.
Saying thank you and being like, hey man, I shouldn't have done that. When I was younger, my level of violence was usually, this, a lot of alcohol fueled, machismo and also liquid courage that would get me into trouble. I never felt good about it. I always had to apologize about it. As I get older, I can feel myself like getting more and more calm with things, and like, letting you, vent and have your way and not saying a single thing. And then just like, it's not my bag to carry.
Yeah.
It's not you're upset. It's cool, man. Like, I am so lucky, that my wife is the way that she is. My wife is like, she knows when I'm having an off day, and usually she'll just sit there quietly with me and we won't say a single thing because she knows that like I'm probably a little aggressive today. And let's say I snap at Tristan or snap at Braxton, she'll go, that's not, why are you mad at them? I mean, you're projecting something on them. Do you need to talk?
Yeah.
And I'm usually like, no, but I'll at least in my head go, yeah, you're right. They're not the enemy.
Yeah.
And luckily, my friends and family are forgiving of that about me. I've worked really hard with breath work. I've worked really hard. I'm still trying to grow organically. I'm not using social media. I'll put stuff out there on social media and it's word of mouth, and still have some openings for 5 people that want to like take it in, and we'll go for a while. We'll see how things go. I talk to my friends about it. I talk to you about it. I talk to Jesse about it. I explain where I'm coming from with breath work, and most everybody is like, The thing about breath work is you can't force.
Mm.
You know, it's like jujitsu. You know, like I can bring you to class, but you and I are going to do class differently. And once you enjoy class, you're going to come to class.
Yeah.
Same thing with breath work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can talk to you about breath work. I can explain to you, but until you start your breath work, you start your breath work, you start doing it, you start your journey down that way. It doesn't make sense until all of a sudden you're like, oh, I just used it in a situation that I wasn't prepared for.
Yeah.
You know, usually I would have chose violence, and I didn't choose violence today. Yeah. Like I said, most men, I believe most men have some level of violence, you know, and those that can control it, great. Those that can't, let's talk about it. Let's find out why you can't control your anger.
Yeah.
Most of the guys that I train with can control their anger. You know, how many times have you seen a fight on the mat?
Very rarely.
How many times have you seen a very, very serious training that you were like, man, those two are going at it?
Yeah.
And you're like, I hope that doesn't escalate to punches. Punches are rarely thrown. I've never seen in our academy. I've never seen
a punch.
I have seen dudes throw down and then walk off the mat like face red, every inch of their body firing, and never that was it. That's as far as they went. And you knew, like, it was like, whoa, that was serious. That was a very serious train, you know? And I think that's what's beautiful about it.
Yeah. I mean, it for me, it was the somatic of like falling back into my body and understanding like what is a real threat versus what is a perceived threat. Like our brain is built to solve problems.
Always.
And we have to remember that like we are in control of our brain. Like we control it. It shouldn't necessarily control us. And so learning things like how to breathe, I think, are super important to our development. And if it's not breath work, you know, what I always find interesting, right? Look at yoga, look at jujitsu, look at scuba diving, like look at your daily life. There's a lot of things you can go without. You can go without with water for like what,
for sure.
You know,
a long time,
right? Food for like weeks,
sure.
Right? How long can you really hold your breath for?
It's true.
And it connects us all as humans. We're all sharing it. Male, female, gay, straight, you know, whatever, black, white, like what, we all share this breath. Like it's so powerful.
It is powerful.
So powerful.
And I appreciate, you know, the people who have taught me. I appreciate Professor Mike has, you know, he's helped me a lot with my breath work. I always ask him questions about it.
Yeah.
His the way that he breathes is similar to my practice. He has a little bit different practice, so he has great stuff. When I'm, you know, like I do have breath work specific for grapplers. That is one that, you know, you're only going to understand if you grapple.
Yeah.
You're literally going to only understand if you grapple.
It's just different type of breath. Different type of breath.
And it's different scenarios, different positions, different things. It's one thing to remember is, like, let's say you're getting smashed. It's how to hold your rib cage full of air and breathe at the same time.
Wow.
Right? Because like I need to be able to go hold and squeeze and make my chest big, make my rib cage big, so you're not smushing me. Most of the time what happens when a new person comes on the mat, they, you know, you like get their exhale all the way out, and then you never let them take another inhale. You know, you know, you're like, okay, I'm gonna never breathe in again.
You put that pressure on.
That's it. You know, and it's teaching people how to make their body big and breathe at the same time. Right. And it's important. It also carries into your daily life of like carrying how you carry yourself, how you walk around. Truthfully, like you said, breath is the thing that keeps us together. It's the thing that drives you. It's the thing that drives me crazy. It's the thing that, it inspires me and makes me wonder sometimes, like, how far I'll be able to take my breath work, how far I can go.
Yeah.
You know, how, like, can I get to the 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of breath work? Can I sit there for 5 hours? I've done an hour of breath work like close the door, close my eyes, breath work. I've done an hour, and it is so taxing on the brain because you get done and you're like, whoa,
man.
10, 15 minutes is what it should be. That's about all you need. And I promise when you're a grappler, you'll notice the difference.
Yes.
Thank you, man.
No, thank you. I mean, I was going to say, like, this has been a late night. I appreciate you getting, this is something I've been wanting to do on the podcast for a long time, is have you take us through your routine.
There's more out there.
You've taught it to me, and like, this is just an introduction. So if our listeners, they do want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you? And
I like breathing. So my website, and me personally, you can go to dray.ocaña. That's my Instagram. On there, you can find my website link. You can look on my website. You can browse. There's some articles on there. There's some things that you can look at. You can book an appointment. You can contact me. There's an email on there that you're able to contact. Like I said, for right now, man, I'm still just growing organically.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sell myself on Instagram yet.
Yeah.
I'll put my stuff on there and show you what I look like. And it's kind of funny. Like people are always like, you look funny. Like you look funny when you're doing it. It's true. Like you're making faces. You're doing all these things with your face. You're doing these things with your hands. Your feet are doing things. And it's because you're not thinking. You know, but your body just starts doing things.
You're connecting. So
High Life Breathing, dray.ocaña, and then that's at the Instagram stuff. And then at Park City Jiu-Jitsu, you're more than welcome to come find me, come search out for me.
Come take a summer, come to summer camp.
What you got going on, man? What's coming up for you?
Dude,
you got some stuff going on.
We got some stuff going on. We're going to be, probably the last episode here in this podcast studio. We're going to set up a new studio, new digs. We're going to get that worked out in the next couple of weeks.
Excited about that?
Yeah, I think it's time. The space is too big here for me. And it's this 100-year-old house that I'm in is, starting to show. It's just starting to
take its toll.
It's taxing me, right?
It is, right?
Yeah, you know, having to deal with floods and, you know, those kind of things. I need to change my, you know, people are leaving my house, so I need a little smaller space, and so just going to do something new.
Yeah, we are going to be taking the bus out in the next couple of weeks, setting up shop. Tyler and I will be out there hopefully on Fridays or Saturdays in the next couple of weeks as things warm up, and broadcasting ourselves, like showing our friends and family some of the things that we're doing. So we're going to use the bus as a marketing tool. We've got some ideas to continue to build this brand, to build ourselves, and to show like exactly what we're trying to do, especially for men. Not that we're excluding women. It's just that for us, like we want to give a platform to men that need some help, and that, you know, that just want to be a part of the tribe.
We just don't ask for it, right? It's a calm man unity. Another pun on the extended community. Yeah, common unity.
Yeah, they announced some super fights. Trip got a super fight announced. We had an opponent that just didn't work out, you know, and I kind of wish it would have, but he's going to fight Paul from Jeff Curran's camp.
So exciting.
Paul is a good dude.
Yeah.
Jeff Curran put on the post, he put a really good comment that I Jeff, we really appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. And what he said was cool. And those two dudes, Paul and Tripp, they are modern day warriors.
Yeah. And
those guys, they have great hearts. They fight really hard. They want to be out there. They are trying to compete. They're trying to do everything the right way. They're humble.
Yeah.
They are monsters on the mat. They're unassuming until they're assuming. And then you better watch it, because they're going to rip your arm off.
Yeah. I'm excited to get out there and see that. So
it's going to be fun.
Check it out. And until the next episode.
We appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Rise up, no turning back.